Hey guys, Suz here, back with another easy keto dinner ideas video. This week we're sharing with you our keto dinner menu for the week, which includes a keto meatloaf, a shrimp skillet dish, a chicken casserole, and an awesome crockpot recipe using round roast. Make sure you stick around, hit that subscribe button if you're not already a member of the crew, and let's get right into it. First up, we made this awesome keto shrimp and asparagus skillet. This was so good. I'll link the original recipe down below. So to start with, I took a pound of jumbo shrimp, peeled them, deveined them, seasoned them with a little sea salt and fresh ground black pepper, added a 1/4 teaspoon red pepper flakes and 1 teaspoon of onion powder to those. And then I just took a spoon and mixed those all around to make sure that the seasoning was evenly coated on the shrimp. I also have 1 pound of asparagus that I just washed and went ahead and got the nubby ends off of, as well as 2 cups of chopped up white mushrooms. Over on the stovetop, taking a cast iron skillet over medium heat, added a few tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, along with about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. And I am just going to cook that for about 30 seconds or so till it's nice and fragrant. Adding my shrimp to that, and I am just going to saute these on each side for 1 to 2 minutes. Definitely don't want to overcook your shrimp because it will get rubbery on you. And flipping those over to do the other side. And once they have a nice pink color to them, I am just going to take a slotted spoon and go ahead and scoop out those and as much of the excess garlic because I don't want it to burn in the pan. And I'm just putting those into a little metal dish to stick to the side while we work on our veggies. So to the pan, I went ahead and added about another tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and a tablespoon of butter just because I wanted that awesome flavor on here. And I am adding the mushrooms to the skillet. Now, I'm not a fan of mushrooms, but my husband is, so I went ahead and chopped these big enough that I can pick them out. After I saute those for about 5 minutes, I'm just making a hole in the middle, and I'm gonna lay my asparagus right on top. Now, the original recipe, they cut their asparagus in half. You could definitely chop yours up if you like it smaller. I like to leave mine as is, have them on top, and I'm just gonna use the spoon to stir them in a little so that steam can get those to a nice tender texture. Once it does, I'm just making another hole, and I'm gonna add my shrimp back to the pan and just kind of cook and toss this around another minute or 2 to make sure they are heated all the way through before I serve it. Here it is all plated up. Now this is not only beautiful, it is absolutely a tasty, easy keto meal to make, an easy weeknight dinner. Absolutely loved it, and the leftovers were equally as good. Next up, I have this awesome roast dish. Now I will link the original recipe for this down below. Made this in the Crockpot. I'm all about a good keto Crockpot meal. I totally didn't do anything her recipe says and didn't really use the same ingredients, but I'm linking it anyway because it was my inspiration. So this is about a 3.5 pound eye of round roast, which is a very tough cut of meat, which is why I'm going to do it in the crock pot. I'm just doing some sea salt, some ground black pepper on that, a tablespoon of smoked paprika, adding a can of drained rotel, which is just tomato and chili mix. To that, I'm also adding 1 cup of sliced celery, 1 medium green bell pepper that I just roughly chopped up, and about 1/2 cup of chopped up regular onion. And then I'm going to pour 1 1/3 cup of beef broth around that, and I went ahead and used regular. I usually use low sodium. I used the regular one because I didn't add too much salt to this. And I'm also adding 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, and I'm gonna cook mine a mixture of high and low. I like to do high for about 4 to 5 hours, and then I did it low for the last few hours, and that made it nice and tender. Just stir it periodically as you go. This is what it looks like. I've just been breaking it up with my spoon gradually so that it's more of like a beef stew kind of texture, even though she calls it a spicy Swiss steak recipe. I'm not sure there's anything Swiss about this, but here it is plated up. I served this with a little bit of cauliflower rice that I just steamed in the microwave with some salt, pepper, and butter. This was absolutely delicious, and I know it looks like a lot of veggies are in this, but because it's a 3.5 pound roast, it really works out to be very low carb on your macros. Next up, we made this easy low carb chicken casserole from That Low Carb Life. I'll link the recipe down below. I followed it almost to a T. So to start with, in a large mixing bowl, I added 1 pound of steamed broccoli that I just steamed in the microwave and drained, along with 2 cups of cooked cauliflower rice that I also steamed in the microwave, and 2 chicken breasts that I cooked in the Instant Pot, shredded with the hand mixer, and then just poured those right on in there. About 5 slices of of bacon that I fried and just crumbled up, 2 eggs, and 2.5 cups of shredded extra sharp cheddar cheese that we shredded ourselves, along with about a half a teaspoon of salt, sea salt, a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a half a teaspoon of ground mustard. And then I am just mixing this all together really well. And I would normally kind of mix something like this as I go, but I decided to just try plopping it all in for this dish and mixing it, and it worked perfectly and made things a lot quicker and easier, especially for making this during the weeknights. Then I'm taking about a 13x9 baking dish and just plopping all of that in there and spreading it out evenly. Now, when I did this, I always like an extra cheesy topping, and I realized that she called for another half a cup of cheddar cheese on top, and we had not freshly shredded anymore for the recipe, so I did use some pre-shredded, just a half a cup of pre-shredded sharp cheddar cheese on top. And I'm popping this whole thing into a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes uncovered. This is what it looks like when it comes out. Now, I know I made mine with a little bit of extra broccoli than the original recipe and a lot more chicken than the original recipe called for, and it was delicious. This is perfect for doing your keto meal prep, especially if you're doing 1 meal a day. You can just cook this on the weekend and it'll last you all week long. Next up, we have this awesome low carb meatloaf. I loved this so much. I served it with a little pureed cauliflower there that I just threw together. I know most of you are like me, probably have just a standard meatloaf recipe that's your go-to, but you know we like to keep things new and fresh around here. If you don't know that, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our weekly keto cooking videos. So I love the flavor combo of this recipe. To start with, I put 1.5 pounds of ground beef in a large mixing bowl with 1/3 cup chopped red onions and 1/2 cup pork rinds. If you don't have those or use those, you could use almond flour, I'm sure. I added almost 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper to that, only about 1/4 teaspoon sea salt because our pork skins are going to add a good bit of salt to this recipe, 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1.5 teaspoons of ground mustard, and 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder, just the chili con carne powder, along with 4 ounces of tomato sauce. So just 1/2 cup total of tomato sauce, and make sure you use low carb tomato sauce, and 2 large eggs. And then I'm getting in there with my hands and doing this crucial but yucky part of mixing this all together really, really well. Now I'm taking a 5x9 loaf pan and we're just putting our meatloaf mixture into that. And I'm going to pat that down really well. Pop this whole thing into a 375-degree oven for 45 minutes. Here's what it looks like when it comes out. Now the original recipe that I have linked down below, she topped hers with 1/3 cup ketchup and then served it that way. I don't really prefer putting ketchup on top of my meatloaf, but you do you and what you prefer. I will say the seasoning combo was great. Here it is plated up. I would have shown y'all how I made the cauliflower puree. Really, I just steamed some cauliflower, threw it in a blender with some sour cream, butter, topped it with chives and some cheese. I burnt the crap out of myself while I was making it, so no footage there to show you of that. But here you go, guys. If you enjoyed these easy keto dinners, our keto menu of what we ate in our household this week, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. As always, sharing is caring. The more you share our video and interact with it, the more it gets seen by other people and the more it encourages me to keep making these weekly keto cooking videos. As always, leave any suggestions of recipes you'd like to see us tackle down below. And until next time, bye guys.